they're looking for a balkanization so that like Florida can be cleansed, but you're not going to take over anything at the national level. And I think more likely is we're just going to keep pushing this fucking boulder up the mountain until the struts break, and then people are just gonna. It's gonna be the laboratories of democracy in the states that are gonna get nutty with it.
Did you see? Speaking of balkanization, cultural balkanization, did you see the launch of Daily Wire Kids?
See, that's what I'm talking about. That's the actual hand here right now. They're not going to get Disney to stop putting out filth. Is that there's going to be a conservative alternative to Disney. And then if you're a parent, you can make sure that you don't have Disney Plus, and you make sure your kid's not watching Disney, and you make them watch Daily Wire for kids so that they can be the coolest kids in their class.
And then, like, they'll come into school on Monday. All their friends will be talking about the Mandalorian and Morbius, and they'll be having to talk about, the Michael Knowles cartoon.
I can't wait to see the content.
Yeah, Little Dershowitz and Friends.
Speaking of show business, Hollywood, or Hollyweird, if you will, how about those Oscars? How about those Oscars? Oh boy, movies are back. Movies are back in a big way, and it's all due to Mr. Will Smith. Thank you, sir, for bringing movies back in a big way.
Honestly, yes, he is the hero. He's the hero. He's not the hero we deserve, but he's the hero that we needed.
Just moments and just closeted excellence. Nobody wants to defend their wife better than a 20-year plus Scientology victim.
I gotta say, I'm personally fuming about this because I, like you, Will, I'm a longtime Oscar watcher. Watched Oscars when I was a kid. Used to put the winners on little note cards, take them to school. This is like the first Oscars I've missed, I think, maybe ever. I was flying back from the tour, and I fucking land, and I turn on my phone, and I see Will Smith slapped a guy on camera at the fucking Oscars, and I missed it.
Are you team do you think that this was real or this was staged?
Well, see, I was thinking about this. My first instinctive thought, as soon as it happened, is like false flag, 100%. All the entire story coming into the Oscars is that this fucking thing is circling the drain. Nobody cares about it. They were getting ready for the worst ratings ever, on top of the worst ratings from last year. They did all these desperate ploys to try to get people to watch, like cutting categories from the broadcast, like editing, fucking just monstrous profanity. Bringing in influencers and extreme sports people to do the fucking categories to try to get young people interested. Just this desperate, sweaty desire for some sort of relevance. Everyone knowing that the relevance is past. So when I saw he slapped Chris Rock, I'm like, yes, 100% staged. Thinking about it a little bit more, though, now I think it wasn't staged, but Will Smith would not have done that if he did not feel the vibe. You know what I mean?
He was only responding to like an unconscious need for movies to be culturally relevant again.
He heard the world spirit and he answered. Like, if this had been a few, like, pre-pandemic, when Oscars are still a thing people care about, and this happens, he probably, maybe he says something during his acceptance speech, but he doesn't get out of his chair and smack the guy. But with the vibe, everybody there at that Oscars knew, like, this thing that we all love, this thing is becoming increasingly irrelevant to everyone's life. It's something that nobody watching really cares about. And they're all watching the same broadcast that we are. They know it sucks. They've been to good Oscars compared to this one. I know, yes, the Oscars have never been good, but Jesus Christ, it used to be better than this. So he knows, they all know, they all feel that desperation. So when the joke happens and he gets the rolling pin look from Jada, like, the decision tree is different than it would have been a few years ago. And so he answers the call and he sacrifices himself on the altar of movies. And I think we should all thank him for that.
Yeah. No, Mr. Smith.
Have you noticed that, like, celebrities have been acting like less normal since Brandon?
Absolutely.
I think that, like, during Trump, there is this thing that went on in their brains where they're like, oh, if I need to act normal to, like, set an example right now. I need to, but the flip side of that is, if I act normal, maybe I can be president.
Yep.
Because now the world of possibility has been opened up, and maybe the only thing that can beat a celebrity is another celebrity. But now that Biden's back and everything's back to normal, it's 4 years of pent up psycho behavior.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Feral Files. This is Feral Files.
Feral
And
Files.
it's not just for airplanes anymore. It's for the fucking Kodak Theater. It's for Hollywood, California.
Everyone's going absolutely buck. And also the hysteria, it's like it's a hysteria sandwich. It's like a temporal sandwich of mania because it's 4 years of pent up hysteria. And then also the fact that everyone knows Trump's going to win again.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so it's like the knowledge that it's coming
Get
again.
it in now.
And
Get
all
it in
that
now.
hysteria from that, it's like you are stuck between these two moments of like 4 year, like 5-alarm siren time, and you just sandwiched between them and no way to escape. What are you going to do? You got to get it out somewhere.
And like the range. I mean, like this cultivated some really good takes, some really nauseating and stupid takes. That are sort of defined between two poles. One, that Will Smith should have been arrested on the spot for killing a man, like that he walked up there and just shot him. But
you really want to save the Oscars, folks.
Yeah, I know. And then the other poll just being like, how dare you judge Will Smith for acting like an absolutely unhinged, insane man on national television for look, if you were offended by the joke, take it up with Chris, at the after party. But just like immediately snapping, walking on stage and hitting a man, but to that end, this brings me to the reading series for this episode. This is, of course, Dr. Roxanne Gay writing in the New York Times. Opinion, guest essay: Jada Pinkett Smith shouldn't have to take a joke. Neither should you.
Hell yeah, baby! Code Duello for everyone. I'm carrying around velvet gloves from now on.
Yep.
Somebody steps in front of me in line at CVS. I'm going to demand satisfaction.
Yes. Choose your second. It's pistols or rapiers at dawn. So Roxanne writes, "This is not a defense of Will Smith, who does not need me to defend him. I mean, I think he kind of does. I mean, like, he acted like a complete insane he acted like a fucking lunatic and assaulted a man on television. So, I mean, if you're looking to defend him, now would be the space, Roxanne. But you're right. No, I guess Roxanne's right. There were a lot of Will Smith defenders out there. So she's certainly not adding her name to that roll call. But she writes, instead, this is a defense of thin skin. It is a defense of boundaries and being human and enforcing one's limits. It is a repudiation of the incessant valorizing of taking a joke, having a sense of humor. It is a rejection of the expectation that we laugh off everything people want to say and do to us."
Yeah, so the alternative is just throwing hands?
Attacking people? Yeah, just throwing hands constantly. Yeah. Satisfaction. I demand satisfaction.
I love it. Feral Files have made their way. Justification for a feral mode is now in the New York Times.
Yep. Instead, this is a defense of thin skin. It is. Oh, wait, no, sorry. I think a lot about how we are constantly asked to make our skin even thicker. Toughen yourself, we're told, whoever we are, whatever we've been through or are going through. Stop being so brittle and sensitive. Lighten up. I'm not talking about constructive criticism or accountability, but rather the intense scrutiny and unnecessary commentary people have to deal with when they challenge others' expectations one way or another. Who is served by all this thick skin? Those who want to behave with impunity. If the targets of... Okay, I mean, it seems like Will Smith was the one behaving with impunity more than Chris Rock does. Chris Rock is a comedian at the Academy Awards, so a little bit of roasting, even if you thought the joke was inappropriate.
It's literal violence. It's more literal than
Will
literal
Smith
violence.
was the one acting with impunity when he, attacked someone on stage during a TV broadcast. But if we all had the thickest of skins, no one would have to take responsibility for cruelties, big or small. It's an alluring idea to some, I suppose. Thick skin comes up often in the context of comedy. Done well, comedy can offer witty, biting observations about human frailties. It can force us to look in the mirror and get honest with ourselves, to laugh and move forward. Done less well, it leaves its targets feeling raw, exposed, and wounded. Not mortally, but wounded. I mean, like that's just comedy. Like, I mean, you want to make a joke at someone's expense, you want them feeling good after it.
I like the idea that like if it's a good joke, that's okay. But if it's if in any way like it's subjectively fails some sort of comedy test, then you should be power bombed through a table.
And also, like, okay, a good joke forces people to take a look in the mirror and take accountability. So, like, if Chris Rock had been an expense,
Wait a minute, no accountability. What are you fucking
yeah.
talking about? What does jokes have to do with account? What? I mean, what did she confuse like a comedy club for a fucking intervention? Like, did she think that when Rodney did she think that like Don Rickles busted people's balls so that they would go to therapy?
He just wanted Puerto Ricans to stop stealing cars. What's the problem?
I think everyone would have liked it if Chris Rock had done a worksheet with Will Smith and Jada for 3 hours.
Yeah, I think
that would have been good.
Like she's just got a fundamental categorical misunderstanding of the concept here. If she thinks that a public joke is only it has to be contextualized in concepts like accountability and like implying that there's supposed to be a serious like command to like take a moral inventory of someone or something. Like it's this thing where the collapsing of all distinctions in interactions that that fucking internet has caused, where now like every public interaction of any degree of casualness is now fraught with every possible shade of like moral and intimate meaning. That seems exhausting. No wonder she wants to punch everybody.
Well, also it's like it's just like the way in which like words are introduced into the culture and then become like go from referring to a specific thing to these like broad general like gaslighting or problematic. Yeah. Where now it's just like everything is problematic, which means that like nothing is problematic. I saw someone do a post the other day that talked about how Leni Riefenstahl is problematic. It's like, no. Fucking, you can say Chris Rock's joke was problematic. Leni Riefenstahl was a fucking Nazi, okay? Like, you cannot have, like, acts of great moral evil be weighted on the same scale as, like, or, like physical abuse in a relationship be like, put on the same scale as, like, I don't know, lying to your girlfriend or disagreeing with her. But yeah, like the idea that like a comedy is like a 12-step program. It has to make everyone do a searching moral inventory and then acknowledge a higher power. Like in terms of accountability, like, okay, Chris Rock making a joke about Jada Pinkett Smith's alopecia, that there's no accountability there. But if he had made a joke out of the fact that the Church of Scientology has been blackmailing closeted gay men for decades and also encourages the use of slapping in the auditing process to enforce their version of accountability on men, women, and children, that would be accountability for the Smiths. But something tells me she wouldn't be happy with that joke either. Because, then you'd be attacking someone's faith, and, we can't have that either. So, going on, she writes here, it should go without saying that comedians are free to say what they please. Okay, thanks for that. Just the mild threat of violence, just undergirding that. But, I understand, like, if a joke is good enough, you should be willing to get punched in the face for it. That's my opinion.
I mean, that is true. I mean, does she sit around the house or not? You got to ask yourself.
Yeah. Should people take your wife?
Take my wife, please. Be politeness. That's important. Long live creative license and free speech. But it should be obvious that the targets of jokes and insults have every right to react and respond.